interrupt this program to bring you a special...
What's going on, world? DS1 Ross, and we back here on SheepStaysLeepTV. Shout out to everybody who support the platform. Much love, much love. Shout out to all of the visionaries out there. Shout out to all of the visionaries. Shout out to the A-Game Nation. We back here on SheepStaysLeepTV with another show for you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the show. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you share today's show. I appreciate all the love and the support, man. I appreciate all the love and the support. Let me get over here to the chat room and give some shout outs before I start today's show. Shout out to my man, Sir O in the building. Salute. It's my guy right there. Salute, Sir O. Shout out to Miss Queena in the building. Always coming through and holding it down. Much love to you. Shout out to A.L. Evans in the building. Salute. Appreciate you stopping through, bro. Shout out to Miss Angie in the building. What's going on, Miss Angie? Much love to you. Shout out to Charles Ramsey. Blessings. Shout out to my brother Walt Diddy in the building. A-Game Nation is in the building. Shout out to Larry Vaughn in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Shout out to my brother Po Boy Films in the building. Salute, my brother. And shout out to everybody that's tuned in, that's in the clouds. Like I said, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share today's show. And before we get into today's show, make sure y'all go and check out my pre-record. Make sure y'all go and check that out. I premiered it a couple of hours ago. Make sure y'all go and check that out because, of course, it ties into today's show. It ties into today's show. So shout out to everybody. Yes, we about to get it, my brother. Yes, sir. So y'all see today's show. Y'all see today's show. Black men, we identify ourselves. We identify ourselves. Shout out to the Crimson Cure in the building. A-Game Nation. Appreciate you, love. But we identify ourselves, brothers. And I think a lot of us have lost that understanding because, you know, year after year of the constant onslaught of the programming that we receive day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. We are constantly fed the lost value system. It is alive and active, and it is constantly promoted to us every day. Every day. In some form or another, the lost value system is in front of us. And we have to deal with it. Whether it's affecting us on a financial level, whether it's affecting us on a family level, a health level, a spiritual level, a educational level, a professional level. On all levels, we have to deal with this programming every day, black man. And the reason for programming is to remove you from your original self. See, I want to make that clear. See, because there's a specific reason for programming that a lot of us brothers don't understand. And the reason why they program us the way that they do, it is so they can change our biology, so they can change our culture, so they can change our environment. This process is known as biocothyron. And When they program us with the lost value system, this is what happened to us. This is what happens. And the first change that happens is the biological change. What is the biological change? How we think and what we feel. You see? How we think and what we feel. How we think about ourselves and what we think about ourselves. You see? This is what happens when we're programmed with the lost value system. It affects what we think about ourselves and how we feel about ourselves initially. That is the biological change that occurs. When this happens, this is how Black men begin to lose their identity. Once this happens, a Black man begins to question who he is. He begins to question why he thinks what he thinks, why he feels the way he feels. This is why I had a problem with the current shenanigans that we saw with Kid Cudi. And I spoke about it in my video. You see, I don't have a problem if that's your preference and that's what you want to do. That's cool. But come out and say that, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of Black men out here battling with their identity. So it's our job as Black men, especially the Black men who have influence, to represent themselves as men. Because we already have a bunch of Black men who don't want to be men. And it's not because they just don't want to be men. A lot of them are afraid. A lot of them are unsure. A lot of them don't know where to start. But if we see a bunch of Black men wearing goddamn wedding dresses, what does that tell that man who's going through that biological change from being programmed by the lost value system? And then every goddamn day he wake up and turn on the TV and see a Black man in a dress. See a Black man twisting his neck up. What does that tell the men who are battling with this stuff? This is why I had a problem with Kid Cudi doing it. Because you're a Black man of influence. Now, if you just come out and say, all right, listen, y'all, this is my sexual preference. Cool. Then we don't have nothing to say about you anymore. You see, because you're not representing the Black men that we represent anyway. So cool. But to be as notable as he is, and to not say that you're this kind of guy, you know, heterosexual guys are going to say, well, damn. And we're not talking about, you know, guys in their 30s, you know, guys who are past that age where they're sure on who they are. We're not talking, we're talking about the younger guys, the guys that are in their 20s. Who are still not sure. Who still are not sure. See, we can't forget about those Black men. Because those Black men are having identity issues. And a lot of us brothers are. A lot of us are unsure what a man is. A lot of us are unsure what a man looks like, what a man is supposed to sound like, how a man is supposed to show up. A lot of us are unsure of this because a lot of us come from broken families. A lot of us come from broken families. And then some of us come from abusive men, men who didn't teach correctly. You basically was raised by F-19. So that's why you're still unsure of your manhood also, because you was raised by F-19. So, brothers, we have to understand initially what this lost value system does to our biology, what it does to how we think and what we feel about ourselves. You see, practicing this lost value system, you can lose yourself, black man. This is why it's called the lost value system, because it is designed for black men to lose themselves. And what is the first thing you're going to lose? Your identity. Because what is the first value in the 10 life value system? Spiritual value. That is where your masculinity lies, your character, who you are. The first thing you're going to lose is your identity. That's the first thing you're going to lose. And that is who you are. You don't want to lose who you are. You don't want to be running around in this world lost. You don't. Because guess what? You're going to be in a world with billions of other lost people. And black men, we already know we can't afford to be lost. Shit, we can't even afford to lose our direction in the wrong neighborhood. We can't even afford to make a mistake and be lost in that manner, let alone to lose our identity. Let alone that. That's even worse. But black men can't even afford to turn down the wrong goddamn street. We can't afford to lose direction. So we have to understand how important our identity is, and we have to value it. We have to cherish it. We have to hold that dear to ourselves. Black men, we're black men. That means something. It should mean something to you. It should mean something to you. It should be of value. Why? Because that's who you are. Regardless of anything else, you're a black man first. That is how you're going to initially be judged. So get used to it. Don't think you can run from it. Don't think you could put all types of other labels on top of it to disguise yourself from being a black man. I know we go through hell every day. It's hard for black men out here. Some of us just want to run away and be somebody else. We all know that. Because of the struggles that come with being black men. Shit, one of the greatest black men ever, he changed the color of he changed his skin color. Michael Jackson, rest in peace. One of the greatest black men to ever walk the earth. He had identity issues. He had identity issues, brothers. He had a problem with how he looked. He didn't like the way he looked. It was past insecurity. It wasn't that he thought he was ugly. He didn't like how he was being treated because of his skin complexion. This was one of the greatest black men ever. That's hands down. Nobody's going to question me on that. Michael Jackson was a great human being, let alone just being a black man. He was a great human being. He had identity issues, brothers, because of what he had to deal with in society. So I understand it. I wake up and deal with it every day. Do y'all know that growing up in New York City and living on those inner city blocks and being a black boy and going through what we went through, when I moved to the South, do you know I was traumatized to see police? Because growing up, I already knew if I'm outside and the police is around, they're going to mess with me because I'm a big black man. Because I was used to that. I was used to that. We grew up going through that. But guess what? Black men, we identify ourselves. We identify ourselves. Nobody else could tell us who we are. And you know why we identify ourselves? Because they never considered us a goddamn man in the beginning. We weren't even considered to be human. Three-fifths of a man. Not a half, not a quarter, not an eighth, 3/5. We identify ourselves. We identify ourselves, black man. And you know why? Because everything that we accomplished in this country, we earned it. And we did it ourselves. Who helped us start hip hop? I'm listening. Who helped the black man start hip hop? I didn't say who helped commercialize it. I said who helped start it? Who helped the black man create hip hop? No one. There were other black men who helped create hip hop culture. We did that. We did that. We did that. We did it. All the things you see today that we deal with, we created. So we identify ourselves spiritually. We identify ourselves financially, wealth-wise, because we already know that the odds are stacked against us when it comes to finance and wealth. But all of these black millionaires are out here, and we have black billionaires. We identify ourselves professionally. We identify ourselves. See, nobody can't take our accomplishments from us because the deck was already stacked against black men. Everything was already against us in every category. In every category. Black men identify themselves in the education world. We got HBCUs. Now, whatever you got to say about that, that's cool. But we got HBCUs. Our people fought for that. They did. That's just what it is. And HBCUs is our version of Ivy League. Our best suitable men. We identify ourselves. We identify ourselves dealing with mobility. How? We have to come up with our own groups to mobilize. See, we got black fraternities. We got black fraternities. Which that demonstrates spiritual and it demonstrates wealth. It deals with the internal and the external. You see? The black fraternities help black men mobilize, move around, to make moves so we can have more access to wealth. But we have to put in all of that work. We did that. We did that. Generations of men fought and died for that. We identify ourselves in the military. Some of the greatest men ever that stand in the military uniform were black men. Go and check out my Black History Month series where I spoke on the Harlem Hellfighters. These were black men identifying themselves. This is why we cannot be afraid to stand up and look like men. You see, if you could grow some facial hair, let it grow. Let it grow and keep it groomed. Look like a man. Look like a man. Don't be afraid if you got a mustache and you look manly, trim it up. You ain't got to be out here with the naked face. So you can seem like you're not trying to scare anyone. It's 2021, black men. It's time for us to take our place and do it unapologetically. We men. We're men. Because that's how you get respect. You see? That's how you get respect from other men. You see? Let me let y'all know something. The reason why a lot of other groups of men don't respect black men is because we don't understand our goddamn power. This is why other groups of men, they rather just, sweep us to the side. Because we do not understand who we are. All the other men know. They know. Because they know when we were running shit, who we were. They know who we are. We lost the knowledge of who we are. And when you've lost the knowledge of yourself, you don't know what to do. You only know what somebody tells you to do. And what they're telling black men to do through the lost value system is to go run around and be a goddamn idiot. Is to go around and run around and start shit and partake in foolishness And they know that a lot of black men are going to do it because they don't know who they are. If you knew who you were, you won't do the dumb shit that you do. If you knew who you were, you'll work together. You see? Why do you think all the other groups of men started doing that? Why do you think that? They learned it from us. Who do you think civilized these other men? Come on, brothers. Who you think showed them what teamwork is? Who you think taught the world what civilization is? Did we forget? Did we forget? Yes, we have. This is why you're tuned in to Sheep Stay Sleep TV, where we allow the sheep to stay asleep. See, we've been lulled back to sleep, black man. We've been lulled back to sleep. We've lost the knowledge of who we were. That's why we lost our throne. That's how you get dethroned. Remember how Thor lost his hammer. How did Thor lose his hammer? Y'all let me know in the chat room. I'm gonna get me a sip of water. Y'all let me know how Thor lost his hammer. Let me know in the chat room. Shout out to everybody in the chat too. Make sure you like and share the show. Shout out to Rob Mack. He said, doing God's work, Ross. I appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, Rob Mack. Y'all let me know, how did Thor lose his hammer? How did Thor lose his hammer? He forgot who he was. Thank you, Fear Soul. He forgot who he was. He forgot who he was. He thought he was just a mere mortal. He forgot who he was. This is what happened to black men. We forgot who the hell we were. This is what happened. We've lost the knowledge of who we are, and in return, we don't know what the hell we doing. We don't know where we're going. If you don't know who you are, where are you going? How do you know where to go? You see? You don't want foolishness to be your navigation system. Let me repeat that. You do not want foolishness to be your navigation system. You don't want to be driving through your life in chaos. See, this is what the lost value system does. And it keeps black men lost because it keeps a black man in chaos. So he don't even have enough time to sit down and reassess anything. He doesn't have time to sit down and try to find himself. He doesn't even have time to sit down and think. Because the lost value system keep you up and you're just running. And you're just running and chasing. Running and chasing. Nothing. You're running and you're chasing nothing. You see? You got to understand something, black man. This is why the knowledge of self is always the foundation. If you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going. You don't. See, when you allow the lost value system to navigate your life, black man, you're never going to find yourself. And you're going to end up a crash dummy. You're going to end up a crash dummy. This is what happens. This is why we have a lot of unfulfilled men out here today. Because their whole life they followed the lost value system. This is why a lot of us black men are searching for feeling, how to feel about something in life when we get older. I hear this from a lot of older brothers. That when they get older, they want to feel life. What they're basically saying is they want to be vulnerable. They want to feel alive. A lot of us black men are not living, we're existing. We're existing. And we're existing because we don't know who we are. Once you begin to find who you are, then you start living. Then you become alive. Once you become alive, then you can start living. Excuse me. But once you get knowledge of who you are, now you're alive. Now you're alive. Now you can say, oh, okay, this is who I am. So let me try doing this because I like to do this. Maybe this is what I'm good at. Maybe this is what I'm good at. This is okay. I'm not good at this. Okay. I'm not good at that. Well, okay. I'm going to do this. You see? But that process is only going to occur when you're practicing the 10 life values. See, because the 10 life value system is a comprehensive system. It's practical for men. It's practical for all of us. But you can assess every area of your life the correct way. See, when you're practicing the loss value system, you're going to assess every area. Those same areas, you're going to assess them in the wrong way. So what you're going to do is, when you're trying to find yourself, all you're going to do is lie to yourself. So you're never going to find yourself. Because the lost value system is built on lies. There's no truth. How you going to find yourself lying to yourself? You're going to identify with a lie, which is going to keep your life in chaos, which is going to keep you living the way you're living, thinking the way that you're thinking, feeling the way that you're feeling. And once that happens, that's going to affect your money. It's going to affect your money. You see, it is. It is. This is why now you have Meek Mill crying about his contracts, and he trying to get out his deal with Rick Ross and MMG. See, he's only complaining now because what? He's finally found himself. And now he want to know where his money at because he not sleep no more. See, when he signed that contract, he was asleep. He was following the lost value system. He was just chasing the bag. And when you're just chasing the bag, you forget to do business. When you're just chasing the bag, you forget to do business. And that's what happened with Lil Meek Mill. He forgot to do business. He forgot that contract is business. That's not hustling. That's business, Meek. But at that time, he didn't know that he was a businessman. Meek didn't know this because he was still identifying with the lost value system. He didn't know that when he signed his name on that contract, you're entering this business agreement. You and another business. You're a business, Meek. See, now he understands this because now he values Meek Mill. You see, now he values himself. See? So now he could say, yo, I know what's going on now. See? You see the power of the knowledge of self? That's why it's the first value in the 10 life value system. And you see how when you don't have knowledge of self, how can it affect your money? Now Meek crying about being broke. He said that he never got paid from no albums. All the albums he made, he never got a check. So you mean to tell me after all these years, Meek Mill, 10 plus years, you never got an album check? You see, brothers, you cannot forget you. The money is the money. You are you. You are making the money. Because now Meek got to double back. Now you got to try to fight for his money. See? Because when you're following the lost value system, Meek Mill, you didn't know that in the professional world, there's no loyalty. When you in that world, there's no loyalty. There's only business. There's no loyalty. See, Meek don't understand that. Meek don't understand that. And a lot of us brothers don't. A lot of us don't. This is why we have to understand we identify ourselves, brothers. We identify ourselves. Don't let nobody tell you who you are. Because that's going to cost you in the end. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you intangibly and tangibly. You see? This is why in the 10 life value system, spiritual is number 1 and wealth is number 10. You see? There's a connection between those two. You'll lose all your money if you don't value yourself. If you don't value your health, your family, you'll lose everything. You could lose all your money. Just like you could gain everything that you have from the knowledge of who you are. So there's a connection there. See, Meek always said he was a boss. He didn't know he was. See, it's a difference. It's a difference between saying and knowing. See, Meek always said, I'm a boss. But he didn't know that he was. Because if he knew that he was, he wouldn't have entered in those contracts under those bad terms. You see? It's all about how we see ourselves, brothers, because we identify ourselves. So you can't just say you a boss. No, you got to move as one. So when you enter into contracts and agreements, you have to move as such. You don't just sign something and then you want to double back and I didn't agree to that. Oh, this never happened for me and this never happened for me. Well, you signed for that. You signed for that, my brother. Nobody taking nothing from you. It's right there. Look, there go your name. You signed that. You didn't question the terms of anything. You signed it. You signed it. And see, a lot of us brothers, we get caught up in that. You know why? Especially in the industry. Especially in the industry. And it is because at that time, we follow in the lost value system. So we don't value who we are. We don't know that we bosses, man. Just because a label is signing you, you're still the one that's making the label the money. See, you have to carry yourself as such. You got to carry yourself with some value. You can't just say you valuable, but then you'll let anybody do and say and treat you any kind of way, and then you putting yourself in these crazy contracts. You can't do that, black man. Because then what you're showing is you don't know yourself. And when you don't know yourself, you can't value yourself. You can't. And when a person see you don't value yourself, it's easy for them to take advantage of you. And this is why I'm telling you, brothers, today, the importance of understanding that we identify ourselves. Okay? Your mama don't identify you. I know a lot of us came from the gynocracy. A whole lot of us. Shout out to AL, man. He said, for what I wrote, sir. Appreciate you, bro. You see? A lot of us come from the gynocracy. So a lot of us grow up with identity issues because of that. Because a lot of our personal development is stumped coming up in the gynocracy as a black boy. You're not allowed to be masculine. You're not allowed to express who you are as a young boy. You can't express what you think. You can't show no feelings. So a lot of us brothers have a problem with saying, well, you know, a lot of black men have a problem with even saying that they're a man. They have a problem with saying that they're a man. And it is because we have submitted our livelihoods to the lost value system. And in the lost value system, a man is only identified by his money, his profession, his leisure, his wealth, his education, his mobility. Now, what type of pressure does that put on a man when he don't know himself and he's in a world where he's looked at for all of what he does and all of what he has? What type of pressure does that add to black men? Hence why black men are committing suicide more. They're being forced out in the world and they're not ready. For one, they're not even confident in themselves. They're afraid to express who they are. And now they're forced out in the world where they have to produce. Production. What can you do? Results. He still haven't even proved to himself that he's strong. But you want him to come out in the world and do what? And be what? This is why I say we got to heal before we build, brothers. This is why I say we our own agency. We have to provide agency for these brothers, because there's a lot of brothers who are on that brink of just hanging it up, man. And that's starting to become normal for black men. Because black men are suffering from identity issues. They're suffering from identity issues. Why do I even want to be a man? It's too hard to be a man. Why should I even want to be a man? Then I'm black too. Why? I could just go put on a wedding dress and be safe. Then I don't got to worry about the police killing me. Then I don't have to worry about getting caught for a mistaken identity. This is what a lot of us brothers are thinking about and going through. Why should I go out and try to and get anything in life? I can't find a wife. I ain't gonna be able to find a wife. These women don't want to be married. Identity crisis. Identity crisis. Black men are suffering internally just as much as they're suffering in society, man. They are suffering internally. They're battling with who they are, who they think they should be, who they might want to be, who they don't want to be. And this is all due to the programming of the lost value system that is constantly at play for black men, that is constantly making us question who we are. Man, should I stand up for black men? Should I speak for black men? Are they going to kill me like they killed Malcolm? Are they going to kill me like they killed Martin Luther King? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? This is what black men are battling with. Why do you think these young black men, they don't want to hear about no revolutionary stuff? Why do you think so? Why? Why should I do this? See, this is an identity issue. Should we be men or not? See, that's what that's really about. See, because if you're a man, you're supposed to die for a cause. If you die on that battlefield, you're supposed to die for a real reason. But we dying in the streets every goddamn day at an alarming rate for nothing. You know why? Because we see each other as nothing. It's how we look at one another. That's why black men can't put two goddamn pennies together and rub them together and make a fire or do something. That's why. Because when we see each other, it's not love. It's not love. It's not love. And you know why? It's because when individual black men look in the mirror, they don't love themselves. They don't love themselves. They feel some way about themselves. Black men, we identify ourselves. So all these issues that I'm talking about, we're going to be the only ones left to deal with these problems. There are problems. They're problems that we have as black men. Do other groups of men have these problems? Sure, but that's not our goddamn business. That's not our business. Now, we could go do business with other groups of men, but our concerns is our concerns. Our community is our community to fix. Our issues is our issues to fix. Let's stop worrying about, white men don't have that. We're not talking about white men, and I'm not talking to white men. We got to stop doing that, black man. Stop looking somewhere to pass the buck off. We not talking about what the problems that other groups of men don't have to deal with. No, we talking about the problems we have to deal with. Let's fix that. Instead of spending 4, 8, and 12 hours talking about what other groups of men don't have to deal with, but black men got to deal with, we could take all that same time and focus on the problems black men deal with, and let's get down to some solutions with that. Instead of complaining about what other groups of men don't have to deal with, because that shit don't have nothing to do with us. It don't. Let's clean up our backyard. Let's shovel our shit. Let's try doing that, black man. Let's try doing that. Because guess what? Even though nothing is our fault, right? All the things that we deal with, 95% of the shit is not our fault, but it's 100% our goddamn problem. So why are we sitting around talking about other men's problems and the problems that other men don't have? Why are we sitting around talking about the problems that, when these men, when they're little, they don't have to deal with this and they don't have to deal. Well, that's not our problem, my brother. We got shit on top of shit that we got to focus on. We don't got time to be worrying about what the Mexican man don't got to deal with from his woman. We don't have time for that. Because guess what that Mexican man could do? He could go rile up 5 of his homies and go on a goddamn construction site and make $25 an hour. How many of us could do that? One of us gonna get on a construction site and then say, yo, man, I'm gonna pull y'all in. And then we never get jobs. See, that's the shit that we do to each other. Because it always got to be the head honcho. It could only be one black man, but it's 75 Mexicans on the goddamn site. But you want to be Mr. Head Negro in charge, Mr. Head Buck. That's because you don't know who you are. That's why you choose to be in that position. Because you don't know who you are. And you don't value yourself. See, because the other men not going to value you. See, they knew that they wasn't going to value you when you brought your ass on a site one deep and ain't try to pull no other brothers in that got skills. See, they already knew what they was going to do to you. They already knew. But let them try to fire little Manuel. About 50 other workers gonna walk off the goddamn site. That's called leverage. You see that? You see the connection between spiritual value and wealth? You know what they're going to say? What do you guys want? We need to keep you working on the site. What do you want? Why we can't do that, brothers? I know why we can't do it. Because we are looking for everybody and every other thing in society to identify us but ourselves. That's why. That's why. It is about what we're going to do. Nobody else. Anybody who want to come help us and be allies, that's cool. But this shit is on us. It's been on us since day one. It's always been on us. But it seems like we forgot that. If everything was thrown in our laps, then we're the reason why shit is going to change. And I'm going to say this again. No, it's not our fault. A lot of this shit is not our fault, but it's our problem. It's at our doorstep. It is at our doorstep. So what we going to do? We going to keep stepping over it? And that does what? Does that stop it from being there? See? You can run away from yourself all you want. But guess what? You're still here. You still have to face yourself, my brother. No matter what you do to try to mask it, throw it off, whatever, it's still going to be there. Still going to be there. No matter how much you try to lie to yourself, no matter how much you try to mask it with whatever you like to do, it's still going to be there. Because you can't run from yourself. Especially us, brothers. We can't run from ourselves. We identify ourselves. Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest. That's what Muhammad Ali said. I am the greatest. The greatest of all time. He identified his goddamn self. I am Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. Now, can somebody tell me he's not? Now, I know y'all might say, well, oh, there's one. Floyd is the greatest. Floyd ain't going to say he better than Muhammad Ali. Floyd not going to say that, man. Floyd not going to get up there and say, yeah, I'm better than Muhammad Ali. He's not. Because we identify ourselves. You know what Floyd said? I'm going to be the richest boxer ever. Who's the richest boxer ever? We identify ourselves, brothers. Who going to tell us something different? Huh? Who? Floyd said, I'm going to be the richest boxer ever. Who has more money than Floyd Mayweather in the boxing game? Who's ever made more money than Floyd Mayweather? No one. No one. No one. No one. Jay-Z said he was going to be the biggest rapper ever. Who's bigger than Jay-Z? Who's bigger than Jay? Any and everything goes through Jay-Z in the hip-hop game. Any and everybody. Any and everybody. Jay-Z. You want to name anybody that you love? They went through J or they know J. That's dead and alive. That's dead and alive. Black men, we identify ourselves. You hear me? We identify ourselves. Don't ever forget that, man. Don't ever forget that. Don't allow the programming from this lost value system to make you think you're not shit. Okay? Remember, the gynocracy practices the lost value system too. This is why when you was a little boy, you was told you wasn't shit and shut up and what you saying don't mean nothing. We all know that that's a lie. We all know that that's a goddamn lie. Just look out in society. Just look in the professional world. Just look in the educational world. Look in the finance world. Look in the health field. We identify ourselves, brothers. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. Treat yourself of value. If you're having trouble with having the confidence of who you are, go and talk to some older brothers in your family. Go and find out who you are. If your grandfather's still around, your dad's still around, your older uncles, go and find out who you are. Go find out where you come from. And if you want to go back a little further than that, that's on you. But trust me, black man, when you do that, you're going to find out that you're somebody, that you come from something. So you need to act like you do. You know that you come with a specific purpose when you know who you are. You know what you should be doing. You know what post you should be standing on. And you understand that you're a man of value. And don't ever forget that, black man. So I appreciate y'all for tuning into today's show. Shout out to everybody in the building. Salute to all the visionaries for coming through. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I drop some new content right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. I appreciate all the visionaries once again for coming through. Shout out to all of the moderators for holding down the chat. Much love to y'all. Salute to the A-Game Nation. I'm your host, DS1 Ross of Sheep Stay Sleep TV. And remember, brothers, we are our own agency. We are our own agency. So we have to heal and build. You have to heal and build. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
Hey guys, this is Spanky Hayes, and I want to say something, whether it's comedy, acting, or just in general real life. I use my A game. I gotta have the A game. I pack it in every pocket. I got one pill in every pocket, and every pair of pants I got. Listen, entertaining y'all is hard sometimes. I gotta fly to Dallas, then to Denver, then to New York, then to LA, then to Detroit. Come on, man. That tires me out. I just take the A game now. I don't have that problem no more. I usually barely don't sleep because I'm entertaining y'all. I'm in the studio all night with the A game. And trust me, when I come home from the studio, my woman gets to feel the real pleasure of the A game. You see I'm smiling. Watch this. Hey, baby.
Hey, babe.
Guess what I just took?
What?
A game, A game, A game, A game. I'm gonna meet you upstairs, all right?